Greetings pals, it's me, Steve, from Time Worn Stones. Being sick, well, sucks. Being sick in the Middle Ages sucks even more. For ages, people have tried to find cures for all kinds of ailments, with varying levels of success, and medieval times were no exception. People came up with the wildest remedies, but none was as sought after as the fabled unicorn. Many knowledgeable figures made a great deal out of it, like the Greek physician Ctesias and even Hildegard of Bingen. Well, to be more specific, its horn was said to be able to cure, anything, including the plague, and even bring back the dead. A sack of genuine unicorn powder was the most potent remedy that could be prescribed at the time. You know, there was this very popular myth that drinking out of a cup made of unicorn horn could warn you of any kind of poison, or even neutralize it completely. Oh, the servant brought some wine to the dungeon. More like straight to the dungeon with him, cause my magical horn is bubbling like crazy when I stick it in there. For the entire Middle Ages and even beyond, the unicorn was thought of as a real breathing creature and often depicted in royal as well as religious works. I mean, no wonder, if I were a medieval hunter and I saw a critter just casually roaming the woods with a single massive horn sprouting out its forehead, I too would be like, yep, that's the most f***ed up thing I've ever seen. It must be magic. Now, as you might know, unicorns are so rare, they don't exist, okay? Sorry if I shattered anyone's reality here. But hey, facts and logic surely didn't stop European royalties from getting some of that stuff. In fact, almost every medieval royal family in existence owned something out of unicorn. Anyways, let's talk about Vikings for a minute. In the early Middle Ages, the Vikings started to settle Greenland, cause they fell victim to real estate fraud. Their hopes and dreams frozen solid and nothing to ransack or pillage, they turned to the only survival strategy they knew would work: scamming other people. Now let me explain. You're a famished Norseman on the edge of the known world, and you know there are a lot of very wealthy people back in Europe who believe in unicorns, and you suddenly start to notice all these weird looking whales with strange horns stapled to their heads. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious what happened next. Oh, and warriors work too. Beggars can't be choosers, you know. And so, Vikings and a bunch of other Norse sailors took part in centuries of unicorn hunting, so they could satisfy demand overseas. Cause from the 1200s onwards, the need for elongated fairy tale incisors only increased. They would become so popular, in fact, that the white, long and spiraled narwhal tusk became the stereotypical trademark look of the unicorn's horn. We still recognize it as today. Queen Elizabeth received a unicorn tusk once, paying £10,000, then enough to buy an entire castle. Or that one time, some crusaders just straight up yoinked 2 unicorn horns from Constantinople and gifted them to St. Mark's Basilica in Venice, where they still reside to this very day. They really went to town with this stuff. Charles the Bold had a heckin' cool sword, and the Danish monarchy made an entire throne out of it. And who could forget Ivan the Terrible and his beloved jewelry-covered unicorn staff, because of course he had one. Ha, it's stuff like this you research at 3 in the morning and get unsure of whether you accidentally switch to Tolkien Gateway. And because I can't go a single video without mentioning them at least once, the Habsburg dynasty was also heavily involved in magical horn handling. In fact, one time, when Austria was knee-deep in debt again, Charles V just paid it all off at once with 2 tusks like anywho. But don't worry, they still got 1 horn left at the Imperial Treasury in Vienna. That one must be real, right? Right?
George.
Sadly, a profitable lie can't last forever. And as Greenland settlements went from cold to shock frosted and the medieval era ended, so did the great Viking con job. Shame. Oh, demand didn't dwindle though, it was just substituted with other big grey beasts from faraway lands. Until, you know, they eventually found out.
It's all bullshit.
And that's it for today, friends. You have some ideas for an upcoming video? Scratch it into the comment section with that horn of yours. Now, if you excuse me, this whale over there looks a little overburdened. Servus and baba.